Yeah, I don't think the posts are news related. The reason I wouldn't personally say they're news related is because it's almost like you've made more of an observation. You haven't kind of followed it up, trying to create a story out of it. It's literally just a post about something that's happened, and that is literally it. So to answer whether you're a journalist as well, I wouldn't say you're a journalist for that. I think you would be a journalist if you followed it up and kind of turned it more into a story, an article, and added interviews into it.
Looked at firstly at the question, do I think the content is news? I would say I think the public's perception of news nowadays has changed slightly, and everything needs to be very big stories. Actually, news for me is wanting to know local proper information around my local area. So if I lived in Coventry, I would probably be interested in the kind of content that you put on the Facebook page. As I live in Oxford, probably not that relevant to me, but if I was visiting, I would also find that your page was quite interesting. Does this page therefore make you a journalist? I think it does, actually. I think the fact that you look at the definition of a journalist, or somebody should be imparting information to people that's useful. I would say that if I was in the locality and there were people like you, or pages like this all around the country, it would be of use to me in my local vicinity when I was looking for local information.
So having looked at the Facebook page, I would say it's news. I think it doesn't have to be major news for something to be news. Quite often, news to me is something that you're able to discuss with your friends. So a lot of the things on the page were about local issues, funny little bits like Nando's running out of fries, things like that. But it's things that people talk about, and that's what news should be. So I do think it's news. As for being a journalist, I think the page is a little bit more like maybe you get a spotted page for each town that you live in or village that gives you all the local information. It sort of feels a bit like that. But the fact that every post is about information, then maybe then that shows that you're a journalist, or at least someone who's very interested in current affairs and things that are happening in your area.
When looking through your Facebook page, I think some of the posts would be news. For example, the post about the royals visiting, because this is something that I consider would be in the national news. Most of the posts I saw I thought were more observational than news, as I think news is something that has just happened. In some ways I would view you as a journalist, but I did notice that there weren't any interviews. If there were interviews, I would have said you were a journalist, as they were informative.
Is your Facebook page considered news? Taken literally, I suppose it is, but it's not what I would normally call news, because I would probably normally take that from a more serious site like television or newspapers. It appears to be more like local gossip. Does this content make you a journalist? Again, in literal terms, I suppose it does, because it is commenting on things going on, so it is news. But again, it's not what I would probably call a journalist, because that would be related to more serious news and serious comment about it.
So when looking through the Facebook page, I do think the content is news because it's informing people, and also because it's about Coventry. I think it's really good to have it on Facebook, because a lot of people are checking the Facebook all the time. If they're going to different places, they're checking into different locations, so it's really cool to have it on there. Like Nando's is one of my favourite places, I'm always there, so it was really good to read the article, but they didn't have no halloumi fries. That was my favourite one. I do think this does make you a journalist, because you're making people aware of the different things that are happening around Coventry.